My game's name is Your Name. What you do in your name is you explore, learn, and get up some pretty crazy shenanigans with some dope NPCs. There's a couple main themes to my game. The first is Team Seas. You've probably heard of Team Seas, especially if you clicked on this. And Team Seas is a conservation movement for helping save our oceans. In the past it was Team Trees, now we got Team Seas. My game goes to this being largely based on conservation and helping our environment, with a bit of gamification, which is a separate thing of mine. Gamification is basically taking the fundamentals of game design, psychology, and how they all interact, and applying them to education in a new way. Basically making it like a game, and ideally making it fun, which is the goal. If you can make learning fun, people want to learn more. If you can learn more, you can get a better society and a better world. When people are more able, they can help themselves and those around them. As long as it's used for good, it has a very high potential. And the last is largely the theme of my channel. There's no such thing as wasted knowledge. Some knowledge is more useful in some situations than others. For example, knowing if you drop an object, it'll fall, versus knowing the Pythagorean theorem. But in the right situation, any knowledge is extremely vital, or at the very least, useful. It would be very niche. It could be, in some occasion, really some abstract idea, connecting this idea to this idea, coming up with something entirely new. But no knowledge is absolutely useless. As of all the great things in life, Your Name works off a basic system. Basically, we have talking, questing, minigames, lionfish, and a tranquil, calm scenery. On their own, these things aren't very strong, but when we mix them up, maybe misinterpret them a little bit, we can get some interesting things. When we mix talking and minigames, we can get an understanding behind them, and perhaps able to learn from it in the real world and apply things. When we mix a lionfish in mini-games, you get a giant mecha lionfish that you can fight in a mecha because I felt like it. And with the tranquil scenery and talking, you can just feel a sense of calm, to relax for a moment, enjoy the beauty. Even if it's not in our own physical world, it's something that someone took time to make, that in its own right is something beautiful. And as a game developer, that's my main philosophy behind things. I want to make games that embody some part of the human being. Could be how we socialize, it could be how we learn, or perhaps moving these things forward. But these games ultimately are for humans, so I feel we should include them in it, or at least pieces of ourselves. Echoes, fragments, whatever you may call it, I believe those should be parts of our games. And for this, it's gamification. And learning. That we can make a better system, that we can iterate, that we can improve. While we are making progress, I believe we can do it greater. Which is why, even though I don't have much power at the moment, I can use what little power I have to change the world in the way I want to. A small push, it may be little, but there's a chance it could slowly make a ball roll. A bit. Slowly, and faster, faster and faster and faster and faster, until it has something, enough force to blow away what is in place. As a game developer, and as a human, I believe that's our duty. To do what is right. Even if you have little to no power, there's still something. You still hold a breath, you still hold a choice. And while you have that, no matter how difficult, we have the freedom that cannot be taken away to do what we believe is right. There could be a gun to your head, poisoning your system, or bleeding out. As long as you have a couple seconds left alive, you can still choose what to do. Someone holding a gun to your head doesn't choose what you do. It doesn't force you. Albeit in that situation, it's quite preferable that you don't get shot. But you still have that freedom. You could do it. What we see as right, or what is wrong, is something we should act on. Of course, I'm not telling you to disregard reason. There's many different ways through it. Utilitarianism, virtue ethics, bit of Nietzsche. But without reason, life has no meaning. But it's a miracle that we were born in the first place. And if we do not believe we do, and if we do not do what we believe we should do, then what point is there in us living? Whether there is a God or is not a God, that doesn't intrinsically give you value. What gives you value is your own self and your own perceptions. You believe $1 has value because you've been told it has value. You believe it has value. Intrinsically, it's about a piece of paper. Truly worthless, a couple of atoms organized in a certain way. But our perceptions and connections to it, our bonds, are what give it value.
And the same way I believe morals tie us these things. If we do not do what is right, then we will not be happy. And while it's overused and we tend to disregard happiness for things like status, we should at least try to remember it. I won't argue that you should throw everything to the side, go live in a ditch, but at least remember what you want to do. If you need to take a risk, that's fine. You've already taken the biggest risk of all, and the least likely one. You were born. There was roughly a 1 in 100 million chance of you being the cell that the egg, and were born. Technically, there's no risk. You would have not lost anything. But you did that. Then you grew. Then you endured countless trials. Then you were in a troubled situation. And you made it out again and again and again. And each day, you have a chance to die. But you've seemed to survive this many days. Each day when you wake up, you take a risk. Each day when you go to sleep, you take a risk. Each breath you take a risk. They're all risks of just differing magnitudes. And eventually, we'll get a bad roll. And it'll be over. Well, I don't tell you to fully disregard it, as that's very hard to do. At least remember you have control over it. That fear is but an emotion. Your feelings on something. That you agree with it and still stand over it. While this is different a bit away from a devlog, it's more of a log of who I am as a developer. If you agree with some of these ideas, or maybe found some hole in my logic, please comment below, like, and subscribe for more philosophy, game dev, and business advice. And I will see you in the next video. Till then, peace.